In the last video, we talked about reasons why high-income Filipinos still feel stuck, the complexity trap, invisible benchmarks, and the system void. Today, I want to zoom in on something more personal. What are the hidden financial traps of being high income in the Philippines? Because yes, the income is good. You're grateful. But if we're honest, you're also carrying more pressure, more decisions, and more unspoken obligations than ever before. I'm going to share with you 6 specific traps that drain wealth at your income level. These aren't beginner mistakes. They only show up once you start earning well. If you don't name those traps, you will keep thinking the solution is to earn more. When in reality, what you need is a better money system and better boundaries. By the end of this video, I'm sure you'll be able to recognize yourself in at least 2 or 3 of those traps and benefit from what we recommend you do about them. Let's start with the most common one. Trap number 1, the lifestyle inflation spiral. When your income jumps, your life quietly shifts with it. You upgrade some things, like where you eat, where you shop, maybe the car, the condo, the hotel when you travel. And honestly, you should enjoy the fruits of your labor. That's normal. But the hidden trap is when those upgrades happen automatically without a plan. For example, you move from 220,000 pesos to 300,000 pesos monthly income. And you tell yourself, okay, now I can finally breathe. But a year later, your savings rate is exactly the same. Or worse, your monthly gastos actually caught up with your new income, like that gym upgrade, or moving the kids to a higher end school, or eating out more often, or more Grab, more Lazada, more small subscriptions. Individually, they're all reasonable, but collectively, they eat up the entire raise. Lifestyle inflation is the silent tax on high income. It feels like you're just enjoying life, but in reality, you're trading future freedom for present comfort. So, before any future raise or bonus hits your account, decide on a rule. For example, for every bonus I get, I will put 30% to long term goals, 50% to pay down my mortgage, and 20% will go to fun. That way, your life can improve and your future self actually benefits. Trap number 2, the extended family pressure. Let's talk about something very Filipino: family obligations. Supporting family is meaningful, it's generous, and for many of us, it's one of the reasons we work so hard in the first place. But here's the hidden trap: when every increase in your income becomes an increase in everyone else's lifestyle too, you end up carrying a load that's mathematically unsustainable. I see clients sending 30,000, 40,000, sometimes 60,000 a month to family, plus emergency requests that can add another 50 to 100,000 per quarter. At some point, it starts to feel like this bottomless black hole. You feel guilty if you say no, but you feel resentful if you say yes, so you just absorb it. The emotional trap is guilt and quiet resentment. The financial trap is never being able to build your own buffers and future because every raise is a family raise. And so, with clients, we don't start by cutting family support, we start by systematizing it. For example, this is the fixed monthly amount we can sustainably commit to family support. Or this is the separate family emergency fund bucket with the seating. Or maybe these are the kinds of requests we can say yes to, and these are the ones we can gently say no to. You're not becoming less generous, you're becoming more sustainable in your generosity. Trap number 3, celebration debt and deserve ko to. There's another very Pinoy trap: celebration culture. Weddings, birthdays, fiestas, reunions, deserve ko to trips. Again, these things can be beautiful. The problem is how we finance them. I've seen people take a 200,000 peso personal loan at 24% interest for a wedding, then 80,000 on credit cards for a family celebration, then feel trapped for years paying it off. On the surface, you only remember the celebration, but in your cash flow, you're still paying for it 3 or 4 years later. The problem is you're paying tomorrow's money for yesterday's party. It's a hidden, long term tax on your future options. And so, a practical shift is to separately fund a special occasions fund, which is money kept in a dedicated account just for those seasonal, big celebration expenses. You can still have beautiful, generous moments, but they don't have to be funded with high interest debt. Inside a proper budgeting system, celebrations become a line item, not a surprise attack. Trap number 4, the always on brain. Now, let's talk about the trap that doesn't show in your bank account, but shows in your body. When you're high income, you carry people who depend on you, teams or businesses you manage, big decisions with big consequences if you get them wrong. Add money decisions on top of that without a system, and here's what happens: you're never fully off. You're in a meeting, but in the back of your mind, you're still thinking, did I pay that bill? Should I move that money? Did I top up this investment? Even when you're on vacation, your brain is doing mental cash flow forecasts. That's a trap. Decision fatigue is real. Every unmanaged money decision drains the same mental battery you need for your career and family. And so the antidote is automation and default rules. When we start by getting clear on your real priorities and then turn that into a simple month to month structure, a few things change. Your fixed bills are now on autopilot. Your savings and investments move automatically before lifestyle spending. What's left becomes your guilt free money, and even that has basic guardrails. The system, in other words, is doing the heavy lifting, so your brain doesn't have to keep running those calculations all day. Trap number 5: the get rich quick temptation. Now, this next trap is sneaky because it often hides behind good intentions. When you finally have more money to invest, it's very tempting to try to accelerate wealth building. You don't want to wait 10, 20, 30 years for boring growth. You want to compress time. So you start looking at more speculative investments, like a friend of a friend offering guaranteed 20% monthly returns if you put in 500,000 today. Hype driven assets you don't fully understand, but your barkada keep posting their wins, making you fear missing out. Or maybe pre selling deals, private placement, startups, or exclusive slots that sound too good to pass up. Then on social media and group chats, you mostly hear about the wins, like, oh, I doubled my money in this investment, or I got in early there and I made a killing. You don't hear much about the losses, the frozen accounts, or the, ay, wag mo na lang ikwento stories. So the trap is hidden behind FOMO. Am I the only one not getting rich faster? That's FOMO. With my income, shouldn't I already be doing something big? That's FOMO. That's the trap. Because you're high income, you can write bigger checks, and that can create an unfounded sense of invulnerability. You know, if it doesn't work out, kaya ko naman buwiin eh. Or sayang if I don't join, everyone else is getting in. So you take on risks you don't fully understand, or you put too much into one shiny idea that isn't anchored to any real plan. Anyway, you make good income and can make up for it over time. Extra money plus the urge to catch up fast makes you vulnerable to polished shortcuts. The trap isn't investing, it's chasing speculative, poorly understood bets on unrealistic timelines. And so, we suggest you create a set of simple personal rules for investment opportunities, like if I don't understand how it makes money and what the worst case looks like, then I don't put any money in it. Or no guaranteed high return, low risk products. Those two concepts don't belong together. Or you can say, if it's speculative or experimental, it stays in a small, clearly labeled play money bucket, an amount I'm genuinely okay to lose, no more perhaps than 10% of my invested assets. You get the idea. That way, you can still explore and learn, but your core wealth is built on so called boring but effective evidence based decisions, not FOMO and hype. Trap number 6: decision paralysis. The last trap is the opposite of the get rich quick mindset, but just as costly: decision paralysis. You have dozens of investment options, different advisors and friends giving conflicting advice, articles, videos, webinars, podcasts, all saying slightly different things. And you don't want to make a big mistake. You don't want to be scammed. You don't want to look stupid. So you keep researching, keep asking, keep comparing, and months, even years go by without any decisive move. For some high income professionals, this looks like large amounts of cash just sitting in a 0.05% savings account until I'm sure. For example, if you've got 2 million pesos parked in the bank, earning maybe 1,000 a year at most in interest, I mean, on paper, it feels safe. But if inflation is, say, 5%, 5% of 2 million is 100,000. So you are silently losing around 99,000 of purchasing power every year while you decide. For others, decision paralysis looks like spreading small amounts of money across too many random things. A bit here, a bit there, reacting to whatever you heard most recently. You know, nothing's big enough or consistent enough to really move the needle. So you just want to see and experiment which one works, which doesn't. And so, not choosing is also a choice. Staying in analysis mode protects you from regret in the short term, but quietly locks you in a plateau over the long term, especially when inflation is moving faster than your 0.05% savings. The way out is to define what a good enough decision looks like. not a perfect one. Be clear on your goals, timeframes, and risk comfort. Choose one or two primary wealth building vehicles that match those, and set a deadline to decide. Then commit to reviewing, not second guessing for a set period, for example, 2 months. You can always refine your strategy as you learn, but you can't benefit from compound growth on decisions you never make. If you're listening to this and you've recognized yourself in at least one of these hidden traps, lifestyle inflation, family pressure, celebration debt, the always on brain, the get rich quick temptation, or decision paralysis, you don't just need more income. You need a better money system that respects the real complexity of your life. That's exactly what we built with clients inside Beacon Financial Mastery. We'll talk through a 10-step process that starts with your goals and your real constraints, then rebuilds your money structure to support the life you want without shame and without overwhelm. If that sounds like what you need, just click the link in the show notes and message us the word BFM on Facebook Messenger. You'll get a quick, helpful overview of how the program works, and you can ask any questions privately at your own pace. No pressure, just clarity about where you are and what the next right step might look like. Now, let me leave you with a concrete win you can apply immediately. Here's the big shift I want you to take away. Your high income is not just a blessing, it's a design challenge. The hidden traps, financial and emotional, are real. They don't make you ungrateful, they make you human. And so pick one trap you identify today and design a simple rule around it. Some examples are for lifestyle, you can say for every windfall, 30% is for long term investments, 50% for paying down my mortgage, and 20% for fun. For family, you can say this is my maximum sustainable monthly support, plus a fixed emergency cap. For celebrations, you can say no loans for celebrations. If we can't fund it with this year's savings bucket, we change the plan. Small rules like this, repeated consistently, are what turn high income into real progress. In the next part of this journey, we're going to get even more specific. We'll talk about the 7 money leaks high income Filipinos never notice, where exactly the money quietly slips out of your system without you realizing it. If you're already thinking, I don't even know where my money goes, that next episode is definitely for you. When you're ready to continue, just follow this playlist visible on screen for those of you watching, or in the show notes for those listening to the podcast. And if this already feels a little too accurate and you want guided help, the top link in the description will take you straight to Messenger. Just send the word BFM and we'll walk you through what Beacon Financial Mastery could look like for your situation. You'll get a clear, simple explanation of how the 10-step process works, plus a private space to explore whether our 10-step process is actually a good fit for you. You've already paid a high price for a lot of hidden traps to get where you are. My goal is to help make sure the next decade feels lighter, clearer, and more intentional. I'm Juan, and I'll see you in the next episode.